The work entitled Lessons Learned from the Brazilian Bioclimatic Modernism was developed by a group of researchers from the Faculty of Architecture and Urbanism of the University of São Paulo. I'm Joana Gonçalves, one of the co-authors, and I'm going to present the work for you today. The research explores the potential of passive design for office buildings in the city of São Paulo through the fieldwork in the building entitled Complexo Conjunto Nacional, built in 1963 in Paulista Avenue near the city center of São Paulo. Since the case study building has no external shading, the verification of the counter effect of the exposed thermal mass of the construction, coupled with the potential of natural ventilation, was the main objective of this technical study. In addition, the relation between solar exposure and daylight, as well as the impact of operable windows in the internal acoustic environment, were addressed by measurements in situ. The dual aspect slab-like building is 19 meters wide and 120 meters long, stretching from one edge to the other of the site, and it's oriented parallel to the busy Paulista Avenue facing northeast and to Alameda Santos facing southwest. The growing prestige of artificially controlled environments, coupled with increasing air and noise pollution from the busy surrounding urban environment, resulted in a wide adoption of air-conditioned window machines in several office spaces of the CCN. Nevertheless, its actual use is primarily a choice of the occupants, and not every working room in this building is artificially air-conditioned. In terms of climate, São Paulo is in a region of subtropical and humid conditions where temperatures can be mild but solar radiation intense. At the same time, acoustic speaking, the area where the fieldwork is located is a quite busy urban area, and levels up to 72-75 decibels were measured in the surroundings. Fieldwork included measurements of daylight and thermal conditions in two office rooms located on the 24th floor of the slab, the penultimate floor of the tall building, facing southwest Alameda Santos. In addition to that, fieldwork of acoustic conditions were undertaken in two office spaces facing Paulista Avenue. For the sake of this presentation, regarding the thermal and the daylight measurements, only the studies for the summer are presented and discussed here. The measurements of the thermal conditions in the naturally ventilated room during the summer period indicated that during the occupied hours, internal dry bulb temperatures are just below the external ones and within the comfort zone, with the exception of the weekends when windows are closed for the whole day. However, during nighttime, internal temperatures can reach up to 5 degrees higher than outside due to the decrease in the ventilation, as windows apertures are then reduced to a minimal opening, showing a missed opportunity for nighttime cooling. In the air-conditioned room, internal temperatures stay around 25 degrees, dropping to 24 and 23 a few times during mornings when occupants open the windows for a couple of hours, but going up again to 26 in the afternoon when windows are closed and air-conditioned system is always kept on. Fairly high airspeed values were also found in this room, oscillating between 1 and 2 meters per second due to the cooler air pushed into the room by the air-conditioned machines, and of course favoring comfort conditions. The measurements of lighting levels indicate that both rooms are within recommended range of illuminance levels for comfort conditions. Nevertheless, in the naturally ventilated room, marked here in gray, where the artificial light is less used, daylight has a more significant contribution to visual comfort of the occupants than in the air-conditioned room, marked here in yellow, where artificial light is used more intensively. Outside measurements of equivalent continuous sound pressure levels were the same for both rooms because they were measured and quite close within a short period of time. So external measurements pointed out to figures between 67 and 68 decibels, whereas internally measurements showed 51 and 52 decibels in both rooms. which proved to have similar sound pressure levels with a difference from outside to inside of approximately 16 decibels. With the windows open, this difference between inside and outside decreases to approximately 10 decibels. It's worth mentioning here that recommended sound pressure levels for office environments are equal to or less than 40 decibels with a tolerance of 5 decibels, which tells us that the results that were found in this fieldwork prove that the rooms are outside the recommended comfort and performance zone. Concluding, the thermal response of the naturally ventilated room in the warm period of the year leads to the hypothesis that there is no need in the CCN building for the use of air conditioning for most of the occupational times. It was also interesting to notice that the room in which the occupants preferred natural ventilation to the air-conditioned alternative is also the room where the occupants made good use of daylight and therefore had minimal dependency on artificial lighting. On the other hand, the study of acoustics showed levels above the Brazilian standards. Nevertheless, it was verified during the fieldwork that occupants do open windows for natural ventilation during the day in offices, facing both orientations, the busy Paulista and the quiet road, revealing their tolerance to noise levels above the national standards when natural ventilation is desirable and preferable to the air-conditioned alternative. We now would like to invite you to read the full paper in the conference proceedings for more details about this technical study, and thank you for your interest and attention.